You've probably heard this 1,000 times, but this is for a reason. Peaks are the most important fundamental to fighting. Look at them, they allow you to get damage on your opponent while being completely protected. How can you not love them? So how do you get good at peeking? First you need to know what peaks are and what are the good ways to practice them. So listen up! Alright, now first we have the most widely known peak in the game, and that's the right hand peak. Usually you do this peak in the setup with the 4 above your head and then a cow in your box. So that's the peak. Now this pick is really good for when your opponent is at least one tile away from you, and that is because if he's like close to you, he can just jump in your box and then you'll be publicly humiliated in front of your friends and family. And you don't want that happening. Trust me, you don't. I've experienced it way too much. To avoid that, use the right window edit when your opponent is close to you. That gives you a much safer peek and it allows you to get a lot of damage on your opponent from a completely safe angle. The biggest disadvantage of this edit is that you can't really see your opponent if they're camping on the left side of your WoW. Well, right now it's the right side, but I think you got what I mean. Okay, now in this situation you can make a mid-window edit, and that is really good because it allows you to see your opponent if they're on the left, but you should really be careful because if your opponent is on the right, then you're completely open and it's actually a peak for them, as you can only see a small part of their arm and like a bit of their feet, while they can see your whole head. So if you make this edit while your opponent is on your right, then you're going to eat a shotgun straight through your face and get sent right back to the lobby where you belong. Another really underrated edit is this top row edit, and this is really good for when you're trying to get damage on someone who is sitting on the peanut butter edit, as it allows you to shoot his head if he's in the default position, which is right here, and then instantly reset the wall. Now, if you want to counter this edit, you should always do it through a right window because it allows you to safely break the wall and get a nice angle on your opponents. You can also use ramps, fours as peaks, so here's some examples and get creative with it. Oh, and I almost forgot. Know that all of these peaks become much better if your editor release off because you'll be able to make much better edits. In this clip you can see pro player Teeny trying to push for the forecast tower because he wants to secure it as it is one of the most important mid-game objectives. He's going close to the fight and on the player's WoW and starts the fight with a quick 40 tag. Now he knows that he has the upper hand, so he's trying to jump in the player's box because he's really confident in his aim. Now he does something really smart here, and that is to SMG as well. Now this is something you should really try to do as well, because as you might have seen, the Nitro got nerfed, so now it only does 90 damage to builds. Because of that, you can't really one-tap the builds, so if you spray them, then you'll be able to phase through, just like the good old days. They weren't so good, but you feel me? Because of that, he's able to go into the opponent's box and get a lot of piece control on him, because the builds weren't placed, and he actually manages to block his opponent's shot, and now Teeny has the one wow that he actually needs. He goes in the opponent's box because, as he said, he trusts his aim and he knows he has an advantage. He blocks him off, and from now, it's just a matter of who is going to hit their shots. Teeny hits a max pump on him and gets the kill. In this clip you can see Teeny pushing the bunker, and that's the second mid-game objective. And it's really important if Teeny wants to have as good loot as he can possibly get. Teeny is pushing this really safely, as he's making the box around himself, and this is actually really helpful to prevent him from getting beamed by either his opponent who is camping around the box or by any potential third parties. Now he starts to really safely and cautiously replace the enemy's box, and he actually does a really nice job of this. Now Teeny has replaced the whole bunker, and now his opponent realizes that, wait a minute, the bunker isn't mine anymore. So his opponent tries to go for a play. Now Teeny makes this really nice edit, and this is usually a bad edit, but when used correctly, it can be a really good one. Now if his opponent was a bit more to the left, then Teeny wouldn't be able to see him, while his opponent can see his whole head. But in this case, his opponent is to the left, and that makes it as the perfect peak for Teeny. Unfortunately though, he misses his shotgun bind, I guess he should really get better, and only hits his opponent for 50 damage. Now though, this is still enough for Teeny, so he decides to aggress the fight and try to end it as quickly as possible. So he ends this just like usual, SMGs the wall, and then proceeds to jump in the enemy's box. This is something that you should really try to abuse in your games, and it is common practice alongside the better players, because essentially your opponents can't even react to you because they're so focused on everything that's happening around them, keeping their space, and they just can't react in time, especially in real games, and most of the times they won't even shoot back. Just like it happens in this clip. And this is a perfect example of how to apply pressure and get kills really fast. Now there is one similarity between these fights, and it's that Teeny always jump in his opponent's box. Now this is not a coincidence. It is totally intended, and this is how you should fight in Fortnite. A lot of beginner players make this mistake, and it's probably one of their biggest mistakes, especially in the range from 0 to, let's say, 500 PR. They focus so much on building that they forget that you don't really kill your enemies with builds and that you kill them with your weapons. So focus on making your opponent panic with your weapons and jumping in his box. Don't be scared of 50-50. And how to not be scared of 50-50? Have trust in your aim. And how do you trust your aim? That's what we're going to be covering in this topic right here. Being trusting your aim is actually quite simple. If you're on PC, you should just buy a DMA. Okay, wait, I'm joking. 15 minutes of aim training a day in Kovacs is going to help you a lot. And why should you do Kovacs? Well, Kovacs has the integrated ability to make custom playlists so you can practice whatever comes to mind. And also they have leaderboards and you can just see results pretty easily. You can compare yourself to how the pros are playing it. And this video is not sponsored by Kovacs, I just wanted to mention it. Now for the 2 controller players watching my videos, you should definitely try to play aim duos as it is the best you'll get in a controller. That is not a disadvantage by far, and if you're on controller, your aim is probably already really good, but just use it as a warm-up and try to beat as many opponents as you possibly can. Chopping is really important in real game fights as it allows you to save mats and avoid third parties. There are a few things that you can do to improve your chopping.
I just got full clip.
First is to block off your angles with cones to avoid getting jumped at by height when chopping, to chop faster and panic your opponent because he won't know what to do. Second, when chopping, try to stay on the right hand peak and you will get an angle on your fighting opponent, as shown in this clip. If you like to practice your chopping, then I highly recommend playing Zone Wars as that is going to force you to chop people if you want to win games against more skilled opponents. In this fight you can see pro player Chichu W King in the most recent solo victory cash. I want you to notice how he starts the fight by trading damage, and this is actually a very smart move and you should definitely try to do this in your own fights as well. Now what this allows Chichu to do is to outdamage his opponents in case they miss their shot or just hit them for a small amount of damage. Now in this case though, his opponent actually hits him for similar damage, so Chichu is forced to back off and heal. Now he pops a cola, and now in this situation a lot of beginners might say that the fight is equal, because both players have healed up to max HP, so yeah, it's definitely equal. That's what many might think, but in reality Chichu has a big edge in this fight, and that's because Chichu has high rounds. Now because of that, Chichu is able to play by his rules and his opponent just needs to adapt to Chichu's playstyle. You can see the opponent sitting in a box and he's forced to play defensive box fight, and this is exactly the fight you want to take because you can finish these fights really fast. Now you can see Chichu trying to pressure the box, and he actually does a really big mistake here, which is to underestimate his opponent, and because of that his opponent actually finds really nice timing on Chichu and hits him for a lot of damage. Now, what Chichu does here though is really smart, and it allows him to recover really quickly. Now, most of you after getting tagged for this damage would definitely just go back and try to heal, but what Chichu does instead is he tries to get counter damage on his opponent so he can continue with his aggression and in return finish the fight much faster. Chichu manages to hit this really good pre-fire on his opponent, and the only reason he manages to hit that pre-fire is because he's on high rounds. Now after that he just continues to pressure his opponent because he knows he has at least 40 HP advantage because of his cola. He just sprays his opponent and eventually his opponent makes a mistake and Chichu manages to hit him 3 times for white HP, and because of that he knows his opponent is really weak. So what Chichu does here is really wise because Chichu knows that at least one of the bullets is going to bleed in the opponent's box, so he just sprays in and tries to cut the distance between them. Because of that, one of the bullets phases through, so Chichu is able to get a really free kill with his opponent and get a good refresh in this game. Yet again, for a 3rd day in a row, I want to thank you all for watching. Your support really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's shown this much support to me. It's just crazy to me, I never expected that. If you like the video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and if you want, you can join my Discord server, link in the pinned comments. We offer free coaching and much more. Now, goodbye, and see you again next time. I was ready to blow me down.